每年许的愿望都一样，早点试。
How do these images make you feel? Can you explain why? Each image is carefully composed. Naked bodies twist into intimate, sometimes surreal poses. Faces remain blank, with red lips and fingernails. Strange props like birds, snakes, and flowers. Everything is caught in the harsh glare of a direct flash, set against quiet, private spaces such as bedrooms, rooftops, or ponds. But before we dive in, who exactly are these people? We know that this person is the photographer's mother, but in most of the photos, we're looking at his friends or people he contacted through the social media app WeChat. We don't know their names. The photos have no titles, no captions, no dates, no locations. But we do know the photographer. His name is Ren Hang. He was born in 1987 in the Jilin province of China, but later moved to Beijing. A queer, self-taught artist and poet with a large body of work and photos published in the form of photo books. But today, most of these publications are out of print, some due to limited distribution, others as a result of censorship. When viewers are presented with this biographical context, they immediately start seeing the photos differently. Suddenly, the nudity becomes a kind of artistic resistance, a way to express his sexual freedom in a strict and conservative China. But I feel like this interpretation relies on context outside the photos, not within them. Even for viewers in societies beyond China, where sexual expression is widely accepted, these images continue to evoke a visceral emotional response. Why is that? We've been conditioned to associate nudity with sexuality, and yet in these photos, nothing feels sexy or erotic. There's only raw nudity. Then what role does nudity play in the context of these images? To answer this, we need to take a step back and consider a broader question. How does any artwork communicate meaning? No matter the form, either as architecture, film, or music, art almost always tells a story, and every story is told from a certain point of view, frame, and over a certain stretch of time frame. The frame is the lens through which the story is told. It's about who is telling it, from where, and how. What's being shown, what's being left out, and from whose point of view. Are we inside the character's head? Are we looking from above or from below? And by changing that framing, the entire meaning can shift. Framing might sound like a visual thing, but in non-visual art forms like literature or music, you really see how powerful storytelling perspective can be. Songs can be told from the point of view of anyone. Take the song "Stand" by Eminem. Here, the story unfolds through a series of letters written by an obsessed fan, giving us direct access to his unraveling mental state. Or take, for example, the Swan song, "Killing for Company," which tells the story of the real Scottish serial killer, Dennis Nielsen. Nielsen claimed to have strangled 12 to 15 men due to extreme loneliness, and the song frames the narrative entirely from his disturbing perspective. But what makes music special is that you can frame a story however you want, through characters, symbols, or even inanimate objects. In Kendrick Lamar's song Reincarnated, the narrator is the devil's spirit, reincarnated from one body to another throughout history. The final body it inhabits is Kendrick Lamar himself. An even stranger example is the Squid song, Undergrowth, in which the narrator in the afterlife is reincarnated as a bedside table. But perhaps one of the most disturbing and effective uses of framing comes from the band Shuxia in the song Ice Cream Truck. The song describes a horrifying event. A pregnant woman, driven by the need to support her baby, engages in sex work. In the song's central scene, she is intoxicated, unconscious, and subjected to sexual assault by multiple perpetrators. That story alone is already deeply disturbing, but consider, from whose perspective should this story be told to convey its full impact? The mother, experiencing the trauma firsthand, or one of the perpetrators revealing their motives? Well, in this song, the narrator is not the mother or the perpetrators, but the unborn baby inside her womb, helplessly watching. This framing is conveyed through disturbing, abstract lyrics that reflect the baby's immature and innocent depiction of sexual intercourse.
Dunk! Dunk! Who is it? To look right at creepy and rubber tubes.
If we go back to the photos of Ren Hang, it's still not entirely clear from what frame they are being presented. That's because the frame in his work only becomes visible through the time frame. So first we need to clarify what exactly is a time frame. A time frame is the specific period in which a story unfolds. It operates through mechanisms such as order, frequency, and duration across all storytelling media. In music and film, time is more obvious. Filmmakers like Christopher Nolan are often praised for their time frame storytelling in Memento, Inception, and Dunkirk, though in these films, the time frame primarily supports the narrative. Here, time may be reversed, broken, or looped, but it always serves the advancement of the plot and maintains causal structure. In contrast, the time frame in the films of Andrei Tarkovsky, Abbas Kiarostami, Nuri Bilge Ceylan, or Michel Hanouka, time is presented as something material. In their films, time is not manipulated for narrative effect, but becomes autonomous, visible, through extended takes, minimal action, and the inclusion of seemingly irrelevant moments. Time emerges as the central force of the film itself. Even static objects like sculptures imply a time frame. They freeze a moment, but also invite us to imagine what came before or what might come after. Time frame is crucial in static art forms, like sculpture and architecture. With architecture, we experience time physically as we move through a building. The design controls your movement and rhythm, shaping the story depending on how time is told. The same goes for photography. Let's say we have 3 photographs of an event we all know. All 3 are taken from the exact same spot, same angle, same framing, but at different moments in time. Photo 1 shows the Twin Towers standing tall in the early morning. Photo 3 is with both towers gone from the skyline, and in photo 2, only one tower remains. The first photo evokes feelings of peace and nostalgia. The third one, though tragic, can paradoxically bring a sense of resolution or calm. But the second photo is the one that stirs something deeper. Here, we feel the uncertainty, fear, and even the loneliness of the tower, a void where destruction is unfolding. And it's this exact time frame that Scott Walker chooses in his 2006 song Jessie to channel the emotional state of the country and the national trauma of this event. But here's the genius of Scott Walker. When he sings,
I'm the only one left alive,
he's not speaking from the perspective of the lone tower. The title of the song is Jessie. And at the beginning of the song, there's a riff that sounds eerily familiar. A distorted, broken, warped version of the Jailhouse Rock. Elvis Presley had a twin brother, Jesse, who died at birth. Elvis would often talk to him as if he were still alive, and carried a deep guilt that he survived while Jesse didn't.
6 feet of fetus, planet sparrows in the sky. A building left in the night. Jesse, are you listening? Jesse, are you listening? Alive. I'm the only one left alive.
There are countless stories about this day, from the perspective of firefighters, terrified bystanders, or patriotic heroes. But Scott Walker chooses a unique time frame that allows him to frame the story through Elvis's grief, turning a personal loss into the shape of a national wound. Now that we've clarified framing and time framing, what story is Ren Hang actually telling in his photos that gives them that strange feeling? One thing stands out across his entire body of work. Every photo is captured in a precise moment, from a single, deliberate perspective. This isn't just a stylistic choice, it's how the story is told. At the center of each image is the human body, something universally familiar. We're naturally drawn to it, searching for connection. But Hang never shows the body in its everyday form. Instead, it's twisted, folded, or contorted into unnatural shapes. What we're left with is something that resembles a human body, but doesn't behave like one. The body becomes part of the landscape, sometimes camouflaged among animals or nature, hiding in plain sight. And always, the body is naked, not in a sexualized way, but in a way that feels uncomfortably intimate, as if we're intruding on a private moment we were never meant to witness. This combination of distortion and nudity turns the familiar into something alien and makes the viewer question what kind of moment they're really looking at. But look closely at how Ren Hang lights the body. Notice the sharp shadows it casts. This isn't just an aesthetic choice. It's the final clue to understanding how his photos are framed in time. To explain, let's look at a brief moment from Jonathan Glazer's short horror film, The Fall. In the dead of night, a masked mob drags and punishes a lone figure. Then suddenly, a quick burst of light from the camera. Everyone turns and stares directly at us. For a split second, we've been caught watching. This is the time frame all of Ren Hang's photos seem to capture. All of them are shot with direct flash, often in dark or muted settings. That flash doesn't just light the subject, it turns the lens back on us. You're not behind the camera anymore. You're in front of it. Even when his models aren't looking at the camera, the flash makes us feel exposed. It creates a tense feeling. We don't know if the subject will discover us, but we sense that moment could come any second. We've walked in on something intimate, something we weren't supposed to see, and now we, the voyeurs, are the ones caught in the act. It's not the nudity, it's the flash that allows a shift to happen. We start as subject, freely observing. But suddenly, when the photo looks back, we, the viewer, become object. The center of gravity is reversed. You stop seeing on your own terms. Instead, you feel yourself being seen, judged by the image. You lose the comfort of detachment. You lose your freedom. At first glance, Ren Hang's photos might look like expressions of sexual freedom, but in truth, they do the opposite. These photos don't rebel against repression, they perform it. And Ren Hang doesn't need photography or poetry to express unfreedom. He lives it. But that's not why you haven't heard much about him. His last exhibition opened in Stockholm in 2017, titled Human Love. Just 8 days after the show opened, and 1 month before his 30th birthday, he jumped from the 28th floor.
希望今年能实现。
If you want to watch the full uncensored version, support me on Patreon. I'll also be posting a bonus breakdown with extra thoughts on Ren Hang's photos, his story and death, his impact on photography, and examples of artists inspired by his work. Link in the description.